Good morning, or good afternoon, or good night, whenever you're actually listening to this. Um, Today we'll be talking about the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was quite remarkable. He was an inventor. If you like swivel chairs, he's the one that invented the swivel chair. He also invented a cipher coding device so that people could send codes to each other and decipher them. And he even invented a plow. If you look at his gravestone, he was quite proud of the fact that he was the founder of the University of Virginia, the author of the Declaration of Independence, and he was the author of the Freedom of Religion Act for the state of Virginia. What he did not list on his tombstone was that he was third president of the United States. His presidency is quite remarkable because in his presidency, it was the first time that we have a peaceful transfer of power. Um, he was head of the Democratic Republicans. They called themselves the Republicans because they modeled themselves after the people of the French Revolution. But once the people of the French Revolution started cutting everybody's head off, they changed the name to the Democratic Republicans and signifying that they would vote or whatever. Later on, the Republican moniker is dropped, and it just becomes the Democratic Party, which is the same Democratic Party today. When he first got to Washington, instead of living at the White House, he decided to live at Gatsby's Tavern. It was quite inconvenient living in one residence and working in another, so eventually moved into the White House. Quite the opposite from John Adams, who uh, jumped into the White House before it was even finished. Um, But one thing he insisted on when he went to the White House is answering the White House door. You might even catch him in his carpet slippers. So today, there are three major events of Jefferson's presidency, and the first major event we're going to talk about is Marbury versus Madison. Um, Adams made what we call midnight appointments to federal judgeships. He wanted people from his own party in those judgeships so that laws that he made, like the Alien Sedition Act, would continue or at least not cause prosecution of him. And so he made 16 federal appointments, but two of the appointments did not get delivered. And so Madison, the new attorney general, refused to have them delivered. One of the guys who was promised an appointment was William Marbury of Maryland, and when he didn't get his appointment, he got quite upset. So he sued in the Supreme Court for his appointment. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at the time was John Marshall. John Marshall was a very unique individual in himself, in the fact that he is Jefferson's cousin and he was Adams' Secretary of State. He did determine that what Madison did was illegal, but he also determined that the case should never have come to the Supreme Court. In his decision, he said that the Supreme Court's function was to determine if laws were constitutional. He, at that point, gave the Supreme Court what we call the checks and balances, in the fact that the Supreme Court can say that a law that was passed is unconstitutional. So that's our lesson for today. Tomorrow I'll give you a little quiz on it, and hopefully you will find the time to email me back with the answers.